In today's video, we're taking a look at how to install a battery monitor shunt easy and simple. It's so easy, anyone could do everything that we use on the video. We're gonna leave a link on the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. That does help us out a lot. Thank you. So you woke up today and looked at the to-do list and you saw that no more guessing how much juice your setup has. Don't worry, here at the StatUpBox team, we've got your back. Somewhere in the multiverse, but our back is a back. And today we're looking at the Renogy 500 amp battery monitor with Shunt. It has a programmable alarm for high and low voltage with a range of 10 volts all the way to 120 volts, and according to the manufacturer, it is compatible with lead acid batteries, AGM, gel, lithium iron phosphate, lithium ion, nickel metal hybrid, as well as it is compatible with 12 volts, 24 volts, and 48 volt batteries. And no matter if you're installing this particular brand or any other brand, the technique will be the same. And the first thing that we get in the box is the 500 amp shunt with holder, which as you can see is transparent. Next we have 20 feet or 6 meters of shielded wire, aka your information or data cable. And as you can see in front of the shunt or sampler, we have a receiver connector for our shielded wire. And now that this got rated R, we can look at the next item on the box, and that is the monitor or LCD interface. As you can see, it has 4 buttons, meaning it's not touchscreen. If we flip the monitor around, you're gonna see the receiving end or the entry point for the shielded wire. Next, we have 3 feet or 1 meter of 20 gauge positive battery wire, and this is what's going to give power to the system. And if you notice in front of the shunt or sampler, you're going to see a green box with 2 screws, in this case flathead screws, and this is where we're going to connect the 20 gauge battery wire. So that means you're going to need the tiniest screwdriver you ever seen. Next, we have 3 mounting screws, and they are Phillips screws. And lastly, we have barbecue paper. I mean the owner's manual and warranty information. And now that we filled your brain with data, we're ready for the install. The first thing that you want to verify is that you have the correct home. Next, that you have the correct setup, because the last thing you want is to monitor the neighbor's battery inside the garage, aka trespassing. I mean wrong video. Now that we have the disclaimers out the way, we're gonna go ahead and install the shunt or sampler. In our case, it's a 3/4 inch plywood receiver of screw holes. If you want to check out our video on how we installed this system, we'll leave links on the description. Always remember the ancient rule passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. And because before the action comes foreplay, I mean wrong video again. I mean before the shunt or sampler can receive any connections, we want to go ahead and remove the nut and washer on the terminal screws. And now you've done it. You broke the shunt. I mean, no you didn't. No you did. And because the last thing you want on a clear sunny day is to die or have your setup go up in sparkling shiny rainbows, as a precautionary step, we're gonna go ahead and cover our solar panels. If you have any switches, breakers, or hybrids, we can go ahead and turn that off as well. And now you've done it. You broke the shunt and you're not receiving solar energy. So the first step that we want to do, we want to go ahead and remove any wires going to the battery. And in this case, we're going to start with the negative terminal first. We're going to remove the negative wire coming from the charge controller, and we're also going to remove the negative wire coming from the inverter. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the positive wires from the positive terminal, and these 2 wires would be the positive wire coming from the charge controller and our positive wire going to our inverter. And if your batteries are fully charged, we can go ahead to the next step. In our case, the batteries are not fully charged, so we're going to take a battery charger. We got this one from Harbor Freight. We'll leave links on the description, and we're going to make sure that we fully charge the battery. This is a very important step to the process. You can also charge it with your solar panels, or the second option, you can fully deplete your battery and also install the system this way. But we prefer having it fully charged. Now that our batteries are fully charged, we're ready for the next step. We're going to disconnect the negative wire that is already disconnected from our battery that goes to our inverter. And we're basically going to do this because this is the wire that's going to see a better life. I mean that we're going to cut in half first by measuring the amount that we need from the inverter to the shunt to split the connection in two. So basically what the battery shunt does, it measures the flow of energy into or out of the battery by measuring the current draw and voltage in real time. It's basically a low resistance resistor that is placed in line with the wire that carries the current to be measured. So we're basically going to open up the wire, create a wound, place a lug, and in our case we're using a hammer lug crimper tool. We'll leave links on the description of the video, and we're going to make sure that we take away the stress created by our loved one, family member, roommate, friend on the household. I mean, the editor clearly removed this part from the video. And then we're gonna take our heat shrink tubing. In this case, we're using the black tubing because of the negative wire, and we're gonna give it some warm love with our heat gun, taking the stress away. I mean, 100% sure that the mic was off at that moment. So now that you become a creator and it's alive, we're gonna do some pre-installation steps by installing the new created wire, which in a way is an old wire as well, and place it on our inverter. Always remember the ancient rule passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. Once you feel it tight, that's good enough. The last thing you want on a clear sunny day where you're not receiving solar power right now is to also break the inverter. And now that we got rid of the first witness, I mean, this means you only have one wire left. You're gonna take that second old new created wire and place it on the negative B side of your shunt or sampler. And remember, the rule of thumb is you always want to place the lug, then any washers, and finish it off with the nut. And remember, once you feel it tight, that's good enough, because we know you're strong. Now, that same wire coming from the negative B on the shunt, we're gonna take that to our negative terminal on our battery. And remember, you always want to have the lug making the connection, then any washers, and then finish up with the nut. And the last pro tip, once you feel it tight, that's good enough. The last thing you want is go from a small job to a big job. And now we've reached to the crucial part of the video. This is where you take all your load wires, or every wire that you disconnected from the negative terminal on your battery, and place it on the P negative side of your shunt. In our case, this means the negative wire coming from the inverter, the one that we created first, and our negative wire coming from our charge controller. If in your case you have any additional load wires or a negative bus bar, you would place it in this connection. Always remember, lugs first, then any washers, and then finish off with the nut. And don't forget the ancient rule passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. And if pro tips are not enough, remember, once you feel it tight, that's good enough. The last thing you want is to explain to your significant other another credit card purchase. I mean, you 100% want to explain to that person how much you love them. Now we're going to take our red wire or 20 gauge battery positive wire, our positive wire coming from the inverter, and our positive wire coming from our charge controller, or if in your case any positive wires you had connected to your battery or to a bus bar, we go ahead and connect it to the positive terminal of the battery. And just like before, lugs first, washers next, and ending with a nut. And we're almost there, grasshopper. We're gonna take our little tiny red wire, 20 gauge battery plus wire, and connect it to our shunt or sampler. And just like we exampled before, we're gonna insert it on the green square where the little tiny screwdriver lives. If in your case the connection is not open, you want to go ahead and loosen it to insert the wire. And remember the ancient technique passed down generation to generation of lefty loosey, righty tighty. Once we feel it completely in, we can go ahead and tighten. This particular screwdriver does not come in the box. We'll leave links on the description. Now we're ready to connect our shielded wire to our LCD interface. If you notice on the interface, there are 4 pressure tabs that if you create a hole the size of the interface, because of the pressure tabs, it can still lock in place. So just like in our case, a jigsaw, some scrap wood will do the job. And now we're going to take the other side of the shielded wire and we're going to connect it to our shunt. It only goes in one way, and now you've done it. You become a master connector. There's no wire you can't connect. And now comes the moment of truth. If you covered your solar panels, you want to uncover them. If you turn off any breakers or switches, we want to turn them back on. Always remember that you always want to turn on first the battery to charge controller, switch, or breaker, so the charge controller can have power before you turn on any other breakers or switches. And now you've done it. You can say it's alive. As you can see, it comes up on 0% of battery. If you depleted your battery, you can leave it as is. If you charge the battery, then you want to hold the up button for a few seconds until it turns to 100%. But let's say in your case it says 100% and you want to change it to 0, then you would hold the down button until it does that. If we hold the left arrow button or the top button for a few seconds, you would notice that the LCD screen will turn off. If you want to adjust the LCD brightness at this moment, you can press the up or down button, being max the 8 number to your liking. If we hold the OK button or the bottom button for a few seconds, it would take you in the menu. You can see that at the top we have the CAP or capacity setting. In our case we have a 100 amp hour battery, 12 volt, and in this case it already came with the 100 number, so we don't have to change it. But let's say you do want to change it, then with the up and down arrow, you want the blinker arrow on the LCD screen to be on the row that you want to change. Then you press the OK button, then you're going to notice that the digits are going to flash, and as you change to the correct value, you can press the OK button and it would go to the next digit. And you can choose to change this information or the settings in this moment or at any moment. You can always adjust them at any time. So if we look at all the settings, we have cap, which is the capacity setting for your battery, is defaulted to 100 amp hours. Next we have the full B, which is the full capacity voltage. This means when the voltage is higher than the set value, the LCD monitor will be automatically set to 100. Next we have 0V, which is zero capacity voltage, which means that once the capacity value is reached, it would automatically set to 0. Next we have the power off or shutdown voltage, which basically means that the LCD screen would turn off below this amount. Next we have alarm or low capacity alarm, which means once below this amount, the interface would buzz, making a sound and flash the screen. Then we have ATEN or battery attenuation ratio. We butchered that name. A battery attenuation ratio is a ratio that automatically adjusts a battery's capacity value after each cycle. And always remember, it's always best to verify with your owner's manual or spec sheet of your individual battery for set values and numbers. When you notice your LCD interface is flashing and next to the amp hours there's two triangles pointing up or arrows, it means your battery is receiving charge. So inside the battery icon, that is the present capacity. In this case it says 99 amp hours from the 100. At the left at the bottom we have the present voltage, 13.2 volts. Next to that we have the present current plus 2.95 amps. Next to that we have the present power, 38 watts. And on top of that we have the time remaining for full charge according to the power input is receiving at the current moment. And on the top we have the 100 number, which means the battery is at 100%. So even though it says 99, that could be 99.9. So it seems to round off to the nearest number. Now if we turn on some load, you're going to notice that the up arrows are now pointing down, or the two triangles, the screen no longer flashes. You can see our amps are negative now, and to the right of that we have the amount of watts that we're consuming. And remember, if you're receiving solar now, or you were receiving a charge to your batteries, it would calculate how much load you have and the amount of energy coming in and give you the final number. On top of the wattage, we have the remaining time that the battery will give you consuming the current, power, and current according to the set values you placed on the settings. with the amount of current that we're drawing right now. And lastly, here we have nothing connected. Our inverter is off, our solar panels breaker is off, as well as our breaker to our charge controller is off. So this is basically what the shunt and LCD interface is consuming now. And now you've done it. You're the battery reader of your block. Don't forget, if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps. If you have any questions, place them in the comment section below. Either someone on the StatUpBox team or someone on the YouTube community can help you out with an answer. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on social media. Thank you for watching, and here's a link to our latest video.